Went into high school, 5'4", 286 pounds. I was a heavyweight wrestler my freshman year. And then I grew a little bit going into my sophomore year. I lost 100 pounds, wrestled 189 my sophomore year. And then my junior and senior year, I grew to this height. And I wrestled 171 those years, And I loved it. I loved wrestling. But, I went to a small school and the colleges didn't come around. And, I was stupid. I was not a smart guy, I'm smart, but I had a reading comprehension problem. I'm dyslexic, There's not a lot of options for that. My guidance counselor at school said, you're probably going to drive a gas truck just like your dad. Get ready for that. And that's what I thought my life was going to consist of. But these Air Force recruiters kept on calling me my junior year in high school. He's like, you want to join the Air Force, son? I'm like, sir, I'm not smart enough to take that ASVAB test. He's like, don't worry about that test, son. I'll tell you how you take that test. I'm curious, we got any veterans in here? Anybody serving in the military in this room tonight? Just really, if you did, and you're able to, will you stand up really quick? I want this room to see you. If you serve in the military here, let me see you. Let these people see you. These are hometown heroes right here. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your service. That's outstanding. So this recruiter tells me, don't worry about that ASVAB test. He goes, here's the deal. 90% of the answers are C. And if it says all the above, it's all the above. And the rest of them just guess. I'm like, well, I can do that. And so I took this ASVAB test and I aced it. And all of a sudden the Air Force was like, come on in, join the United States Air Force, son. And so I did. My summer before my senior year, I went to basic training at Lackland in San Antonio. I came back and I did my senior year in high school, and then I had the summer off, and then I had to report to tech school in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then I got my orders. You know what the first job the United States Air Force gave me? They made me a pharmacy specialist. I don't think you guys are keeping up with the story here, because I'm dyslexic with a reading comprehension problem. And now you want me to hand out medication I can't read? I probably got some kills under my belt I'm not aware of, is all I'm saying. They finally let me switch jobs, and I became a combat medic. And I got based out of Turkey. I was in Adana, Turkey at Incirlik Air Force Base during Desert Storm. That's what I did. I was a triage nurse during Desert Storm. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I did my time in the Air Force. My last base was Norton, San Bernardino, California. And I ended up going to college, University of Redlands. And I graduated college. Believe it or not, I got a college degree. And then I couldn't get a job, though. I couldn't get a job. But these Marine Corps guys were always up at the university. Like, hey, son, you want to be an officer in the United States Marine Corps? All right, I guess so. I don't know. Let me call my dad, I called my dad. My dad was enlisted Army. My dad's like, son, you were too stupid to be an officer and in charge of anybody. You tell them guys that you can't be an officer, but you'll go in enlisted. Okay. So I call their Marine Corps back. I'm like, my dad says I can't be an officer in the United States Marine Corps, but can I go in enlisted? And they're like, well, son, you can, but let me tell you what's going to happen here. I was an E4 buck sergeant in the Air Force. They're like, we're going to take 2 stripes away from you. We're going to drop you down at E2, and we're going to send you back to boot camp in MCRD San Diego, and you're going to start all over. I'm like, well, yippee skippy, let's do that. All right. So they let me ship, though. They sent me off to boot camp 3 pounds overweight. They let me ship off. And when I got to MCRD San Diego, they put me on PCP. And that's not the drug, folks, it's the pork chop platoon, all right? It's a physical conditioning platoon where they send fat guys like me that are overweight, all right? And I get sent to this platoon. It was water weight, folks. I lost that 3 pounds probably the first day. The problem was they didn't update the paperwork when they dropped me off to my present platoon. So I get put with my permanent platoon, and I'm still on this diet. Like, I'm going to the chow hall, sitting directly across from another guy that's fat, and here's 2 guys on double rations, and I gotta watch this guy eat cake and cookies and ice cream while they're trying to gain weight. Me and this guy, quarter head of lettuce, scoop of rice, scoop of Jell-O, 2 glasses of water, hydrate, get in, get out. And it's killing me. It's killing me. My senior drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Wilson, was the biggest black man I'd ever seen in my life. And he had that soothing James Earl Jones voice. And he's like, recruits, if you ever have a problem, come knock on the duty hut. Come on in, we'll talk like men. I'm like, well, I think this guy likes me, so I'm going to go in there and talk to him about this diet. And I knocked on that duty hut. He's like, come on in, recruit. And I go stand in front of that desk. He's like, what's the problem, son? I'm like, it's the diet, sir. I've lost that weight, and I'm starving. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, Clifton. And he grabs my file and he puts it down on his desk. He's like, United States Air Force here, huh? combat medic, highly decorated. And he goes right back and goes, wait a minute, United States Air Force private. He's like, you're a daggone flyboy? And he throws my file out of his office. He goes, get your fat, chunky butt out of my office, get in the classroom, you're going to push up for the next 13 weeks. And they call it beating your face. And I did that for 13 weeks. Some kid in China probably has a dent in their forehead from how much I humped that ground. I'm just saying. It was brutal, man. And I did my time in the Marine Corps, and I got my deployments, and I got hurt while I was in the Corps, And once you're not 100% with the Corps, they're kind of done with you, And so they started pushing me out. But I wasn't done with the military yet. The Army will take anybody. So I did what they call going blue to green. I went from the Marine Corps to the Army. I was military police. I was corrections in the Corps. We all trained together at Lackland and Fort Lawson Woods, so I knew what I was doing. And the Army was like, come on in, son. And I was happy with the Army. I liked it. Because I was like, man, I'd had my deployments, man. I'd seen war. I've seen the things and done things I didn't want to do, but I'm like, I still wanted to serve my country. And so I'm like, I filled out my dream sheet. You guys that serve in the military, a dream sheet, man. I saw all these people getting based in really cool places like Hawaii and Okinawa and, Iceland and all these, I'm like, man, I want to go to those bases. So I filled out my dream sheet and I put all these cool bases down. You know where I got based? Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, 12 miles from my stinking house. 12 miles from where I grew up. Parents are driving by, checking up on you. You're like, Sergeant Clifton, your mom's at the front gate? I'm like, oh, man. And I got what they call med-boarded out of the military. I fought him. I wanted to stay in for 20, but I got 13 in. I'm 100% disabled, and, God's good, and he looks after me. And, but it was crazy, though. I found this comedy thing along the way, trying to just get my mind right. I live in Los Angeles, and I'd be going to the VA there, just trying to get therapy and trying to get through my things and some of the dark things that I had to do in the military. And every time I'd go, it'd be some USC student or some UCLA student, and I'd have to start all over and tell them my story, and I'd go the next time, and they graduated. Now I have somebody new, and it's just my gut was always in a knot. I came home one day, and my wife's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't keep on going on like this. I said, I'm not getting what I need here. And I went in my office, and I got out a piece of paper, and I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? I got to heal me. I got to figure out this. I don't want to be one of those statistics. I don't want to be one of those 22 a day. And I took out a piece of paper, and I wrote combat to comedy on the top of this paper. And underneath that, I wrote the number 300. Folks, here's the deal. I can't change any of the things I did in my past. I raised my hand 3 times and said, I'll defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I meant that. And I signed that check. And I can't change yesterday. I can't. And after this heart attack, folks, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. All I know is that I can live in 5-minute increments. I can live in 300 seconds. And if I can get through this 5 minutes, I'll get through the next 5 minutes. And before you know it, tomorrow's here, and I've lived another day, and I win. The demons didn't catch me. And that's how I live my life. That's how I live my life.